All I ever have to do is be famous. People watch me, and they love me.
You can have a little taste of the good life too. Now I know you want it. Hell, everybody does. Do it to your own kind. What's the threat? We all sell out every day. Might as well be on the winning team.
The real men of the world have to stand up and say,
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass.
all out of bubblegum.
Greetings, citizens of a manipulated dystopia. In part 1 we explained the Bilderbergs' plan for manipulating reality, engaging in Minority Report pre-crime, sonic weapons for mind control, NATO enforced corporatocracy, stopping nationalism, making sure democracy only works for the rich, hiding assets and using authority to cripple free market capitalism. After Cardinal Parollin explains hiding assets and attacking free market capitalism, then Professor Ngaire Woods Dean of the Blavatnik School of Government and Professor of Global Economic Governance at Oxford and Mariana Mazzucato, Professor in the Economics of Innovation and Public Value, from the University College London spoke explaining methods of keeping inequality from leading to class war.
Now, many of us already have a perception of this country's wealth distribution, but as this following video points out, that perception is severely skewed and sadly not in our favor. Check it out.
Here's what we think it is again, and here is the actual distribution, shockingly skewed. Not only do the bottom 20% and the next 20%, the bottom 40% of Americans barely have any of the wealth. I mean, it's hard to even see them on the chart. But the top 1% has more of the country's wealth than 9 out of 10 Americans believe the entire top 20% should have.
According to Woods, if people can't aspire to succeed within the system, they will aspire outside the system, in ways that break the system. Therefore, the governments need to create the illusion of opportunity. According to Mazzucato, this happens with public infrastructure spending to create the appearance of success among the poor, along with false numbers for Marcro-Analytics. All numbers under a fiat system which US has spent 18 years in wars globalizing can be arbitrarily manipulated.
Sound economic theory tells us that sound money actually is a prerequisite for a working market. And that's the message I try and get over. And of course that naturally brings me into the world of gold, because if you're talking about sound money, by definition you're talking about something which is not under the control of governments.
Benjamin Bring, co-founder and managing director of Cognizant's Center for the Future of Work and co-author of What to Do When Machines Do Everything, expressed the heightened necessity for creating the illusion of commoners' growth as workers are gradually replaced by robots, and has created a counter-narrative to actually have workers embrace their automation.
Automation used to mean big, stupid machines doing repetitive work in factories. Today, they can land aircraft, diagnose cancer, and trade stocks. We are entering a new age of automation unlike anything that's come before. According to a 2013 study, almost half of all jobs in the US could potentially be automated in the next 2 decades.
When confronted about his anti-worker pro-elite media manipulation, he only had this to tweet: "First rule of Fight Club is do not talk about Fight Club." The meeting then takes a turn directly into AI as the pre-crime aficionado of Palantir explains keeping the populace in check through predictive programming. Self-teaching master AI Google DeepMind has the CEO Demas Hassab is working in tandem with Palantir. War criminal Henry Kissinger supervises the direction of the joint project.
A prediction is being made about something an individual has not yet done but is going to do. And a preemptive arrest is made of someone before they've performed an act.
Wollen wir in eine Gesellschaft geraten, die komplett überwacht ist, wo jeder seinen Score bekommt, so wie es eben die Chinesen vorhaben? Wollen wir in so einer Gesellschaft leben? Und die Frage ist, warum tun wir das?
John H. Baker III, director of the U.S. Department of Defense Office of Net Assessments, then spoke about the pre-crime AI government network and its funding, which is then followed by State Department and Council on Foreign Relations Jared Cohen, founder and CEO of Jigsaw, a subsidiary of Alphabet Incorporated, to what the future of pre-crime needs to look like.
They haven't told us what the algorithm is that they're using to identify people. There's no way to get off the list once you're on it.
Jared Cohen also works in partnership with Eric Schmidt, commanding the full arsenal of Google, and Tim Hwang running MIT AI governance. Baker's organization is charged with identifying emerging or future threats and opportunities for the United States. Made significantly deadlier as Air Force Master Sergeant and RAND CEO Michael Rich took all-human control of AI military threat detection. All that's for Skynet. From there would be distribution onto the internet, created from ARPANET as a defense system that can't be shut down, and the human-free AI would have to consider being turned off a threat, not outside possible thought.
But after spreading itself like a virus through the internet, weaving through the web, its program was spread out across every major computer server or network, in office buildings, dorm rooms, everywhere. This made it physically impossible for a single surgical strike to destroy it on Judgment Day.
Professor Michael Horowitz published a lengthy article in the Texas National Security Review on AI and national security. At the Bilderbergs, he pushed for an AI race against China and other nations heavily invested in AI to maintain US superiority. That superiority already includes compact fusion reactor AI drones that have no pilot and don't need to ground for fuel.
Garage. We can't trace the virus. We can't pin it down.
It's like nothing we've ever seen before. It keeps growing and changing, like it has a mind of its own.
This can't be happening.
While Hwang heads the mostly privately funded initiative, the primary aim of which is to ensure that technologies of automation and machine learning are researched. First-time participant and political analyst Charles Cook outlined that new methods of social engineering beyond media need to be addressed, as the overwhelming majority do not see the mainstream media as reliable.
First, firewalls that once strictly separated news from opinion have been replaced by hopelessly blurred lines. Once forbidden practices such as editorializing within straight news reports and the inclusion of opinions as if fact are not only tolerated, they're encouraged. The result, it's never been harder for Americans to separate news that's real from news that's not.
Then François-Philippe Champagne spoke to the Bilderbergs about stopping Trump's nationalism from affecting trade negotiations. As we have often said, nationalism kills corporatism, which leads to the Bilderbergs' borderless policies no matter what the damage is.
Families in Birmingham are set to become a minority group for the first time.
The country's most rapidly growing demographic is Muslim,
with Mohammed now the most popular name for baby boys in London.
The high Muslim birth rate is changing the political landscape. Imran is looking forward to replacing Belgian law with Sharia law, including amputation for theft, stoning for adultery, and death to homosexuals.
If they want to push us back or something like that, I don't know, maybe they can start to marry 4 wives and have a lot of children. Start with that, maybe they will have a chance, but I don't think so.
Something else that Muslim immigration appears to have brought to Norway is what some here call a rape epidemic. Recent police statistics showed that in the capital of Oslo, 100% of assault rapes between strangers were committed by immigrant non-Western males, and 9 out of 10 of their victims were native Norwegian women.
This led to fierce debate among Bilderberg trade officials on the effects on the growing transatlantic rift as the Trump administration pursues its America First foreign policy. This debate continues till the last day of the meeting. Without directly mentioning he had been at Bilderberg, James Fallows tweeted on the deeper and more genuine outrage of the Europeans in response to Trump's push for tariffs, his performance at the G7 meeting, and his courting of Russia and North Korea while stiffing historical allies. After the debate is initiated, the Bilderbergs discuss media manipulation suggesting an upcoming war with Russia.
I think we need to understand the real and present danger that potentially a resurgent Russia poses, the dynamic that was started with the invasion of Crimea in 2014, the ramp up of military spending by Russia, the build-up of military forces, particularly the spotlight it throws on the Baltic states, which of course have significant Russian-speaking minorities, and the reality of the importance of building up our deterrent capability as a NATO alliance to protect and defend the alliance.
Although Giampiero Massillo, a former Italian diplomat, current chairman of shipbuilding corporation FUK3RY, said there is no real Russian threat. And as it becomes evident that Russian war will not happen, there needs to be another big threat to keep the masses distracted. Then we approach the tech giant finale. Quantum computing can tear through any encryption, and with CIA-funded D-Wave. Integrating this new level of surveillance was addressed by Alex Carr, CEO of Palantir Technologies.
Right, so instead of years taking a classic computer to crack a code or break into a computer, a quantum computer can do it in seconds.
Further breaking this down from the D-Wave end speaks Eric Schmidt, former CEO and now a technical advisor of Alphabet Incorporated.
D-Waves can simultaneously download every single program all at once and then update itself, and from that only choose the best ones and then discard the rest.
So now the real theoretical problems comes in when it is constantly in a state of self-improvement and simultaneously may find that everything around it is obsolete if it can't improve or update itself fast enough.
And these threats are only the second phase of the Bilderberg world domination plan for this year. Stay tuned for part 3. We are not Jesus. Nor do we have Alzheimer's. Expect us.